Mayzy and I'm the founder of the Single and Ready Club. We are very passionate about educating people on very important matters of life. Love, marriage, family, relationships generally. We believe that there is a lot that people need to know to make it work. Okay? So we have some answers for you. And sit back, stay glued to your screen, okay? And enjoy the answers to this pertinent question. I'll see you in a moment. Thank you.
Emotional maturity. I think the ability to handle or control your emotions. Because one of my mentors told me that in marriage and of course in other areas of life you need to have shock absorber. And I think emotional maturity is the ability to be able to have control of your emotions, to be able to, say no when you got to say no, the ability to be patient, the ability to be understanding. It has a whole lot, but emotional maturity is something that one needs to have before you enter into marriage, because in marriage a lot of forgiveness is required, a lot of understanding is required. When shock comes, you've got to be able to hold yourself together and of course hold your family together. Yeah, so I think emotional maturity is all that for me.
Yeah, so emotional maturity for me, it means that you have the ability to separate the problem from the person. Because we have a lot of long-lost relationships, long-lost friendships, because situations happen and people just lack the ability to separate, the situation from the person, separate the person from the mistake. So emotional maturity is the ability to be able to say, oh, you did this, but I can separate your actions or your choices or your mistake from your person. Oh, I'm angry with you right now. I'm angry with what you have done. However, I can separate that feeling of anger and disappointment from your person. Else, you're just going to be a bag of emotions, and the emotions will color everything about how you perceive or see the person. And then you can just automatically hate someone who is actually an amazing person because of one simple mistake. So emotional maturity is separating the matter, the situation from the person. Yeah, that's it for me. So I burnt the plantain. Do not be angry with me. I'm not a plantain burner, as it's my career. It was just a mistake. But when you associate all that emotions and you attach it and you just can't get over the fact that I burnt your plantain, sorry, you're not emotionally mature. You are not ready for life, because people will annoy you. Separate them from what they've done. Yeah.
That's a very good question. You see, when we're growing up, people used to ask me this question: how do you know you're matured enough for a relationship? And people used to talk about emotional maturity, and we were quite young. And this is the answer that I used to give to them. And as I've grown older, I've seen the wisdom in that answer. So I tell them, I said, okay, so give me 3 people that are, if it's a girl, I would tell them, okay, give me 3 people that you respect. Doesn't matter whether they're married or not, or they're hooked up or not, but you respect them and you admire them. So they give me 3 names. So I said to them, if the first person, A, comes to you in the morning and proposes to you, and B comes to you in the afternoon and proposes to you, and C comes to you in the evening and proposes to you, if you're confused about which of them you should say yes to, then you are not mature. That means you're not ready for marriage, because part of what makes you qualify is to know who the person is. You don't know the person, what are you doing in a relationship? So part of emotional maturity is the ability to know who the person is, or if the person is right for you, in spite of how you feel or didn't feel about the person. So that's it. Our emotional security should always come from the affirmations we have of who God says we are. And then if another person is affirming that within us, you get the point. So that helps us. So if it's just all about, oh, you're beautiful physically, and it's all just about those things that we like to hear, then, that's not mature.
Emotional maturity. It simply means someone who is emotionally balanced, someone who is emotionally sound, someone who has control over their emotions, someone who they are in touch with who they are. They are comfortable in their own skin. You understand? They are in control of how they feel. They know how to communicate. They know how to handle tough circumstances. They know how to handle tough situations. So when issues come up, they are not afraid of addressing it. They are not hiding behind, I'm feeling stressed, or hiding behind, I'm too busy, we'll talk about it later. Someone that knows how to deal with issues as they come. For me, emotional maturity is being so comfortable in your own skin that you can handle anything. Now, not everybody is emotionally mature, and of course, it's not something you are born with. It's something you grow into after a while, so it's a skill you have to learn. We're all born with children. When they are born, they scream, they cry, but as they grow older, they learn to manage their emotions. They learn to ask questions. Okay, please, can I have that? No longer screaming to get what they want. And then they grow to the point where even when they're asking, they are considerate. They're like, okay, if I ask for this, will it affect that? Will they begin to think of, so just the way you grow in life, that's the way you should grow in your emotions. You can't just say, because I feel this way, I must express it. You don't always have to express. Sometimes you need to take a step back and reevaluate. I'll give a scenario here. For instance, two people have an argument. One is screaming, the other one is supposed to be the emotionally mature one. What is that one expected to do when someone else is screaming at him? There are two things. He can calm the situation down by walking away, or he can stay there and say, okay, tone the volume down. Let me attend to what you are saying. Okay, this is what I am hearing. Is this what you are trying to communicate? Someone who is willing to tear down all the emotional charades and get to the point of the matter. You understand? Someone who understands where the issues are. Yes, this person is screaming and angry, but they are willing to filter all that to get the point of the message. It's only an emotionally mature person that will be willing to do that. Someone who's not emotionally mature would want to just throw everything up in the air and be like, well, you are shouting at me. Am I the cause of your problem? The person will not want the person will not want to just calm down. The person will take it as you are shouting at me and turn it into a me thing. Someone who's not emotionally mature will just blame everything. It's your fault that this didn't work out. It's your okay, a mature person will be like, okay, it didn't work out. What's the next step? Let's not dwell on the past, because that's not going to change anything. That's how maturity makes you different. So there are a lot of people that are old in age, but they are not really emotionally mature. An emotionally mature man can handle an emotionally strong woman. So when you guys are having difference of opinion, and she's saying this is what she thinks, you will not go, you people like you are. No, he'll be able to just calm down and say, okay, I hear what you're saying. This is what I think. This is my definition of respect. This is how it should work. You understand? He can decipher the issues. He will not just be like, it's people like you, grouping them, blaming, flipping situations around. No, all those are signs of someone that is not emotionally mature. They're not comfortable in their own skin. They want to avoid topics, avoid issues. You offended somebody, call the person and apologize. You say, I beg me, she blow over. When she don't get over and she go call me back. That's not an emotionally mature person, because he's not even reading the situation right. Why is she angry? What did you do to offend her? How can you make it better? An emotional person will be thinking, how do I make it better? So those are just a few of the things you should be worried about when you think of the word emotional maturity.
Emotional maturity. I think emotional maturity is the extent to which one can control his or her emotions, and more especially how one can
tolerate things or tolerate issues. Someone told me that guys are not emotionally matured until 25, and I think to an extent there could be some element of truth there, but for me, I would see emotional maturity as your ability to love, ability to be gentle, ability to care, ability to forgive. I think those are what qualifies for emotional maturity.
Okay, emotional maturity for me would mean that the person is ready for a lifelong commitment. When you say you are emotionally mature, it means you understand that when you're in a relationship that leads to marriage, it's a lifelong commitment. You don't move in and out of feelings. You don't work by feelings. You understand that love is a commitment. You're committing to this for the rest of your life. So you're not moved by how you feel or the circumstances around. You have committed yourself to a relationship and you see it to the end. So that's what really I think about emotional maturity. You're not moved by circumstances or feelings. You are committed to your relationship, committed to the marriage, committed to the person you are in the relationship with.
Hey, so what does it mean to me, emotional maturity? So many times when people are asked this question, we usually look at it from the reactive point of view, but there's a proactive aspect of it. For me, it's more proactive than reactive. Emotional maturity is understanding the person you are with and preventing issues that can, cause such rancor and such, and bring about negative vibes generally. You get? So if we can attend to it, or if we can address it proactively, then we'll have less issues to be reactive about. And then coming to the reactive aspect of it, you need to be able to prioritize. Emotional maturity is about prioritizing. Prioritizing in that there are issues, but you need to be able to tell which one is high priority, medium priority, low priority, which one should I raise my voice for, which one should I ignore, which one should we sit and discuss. These are some of the things that are key. So you need to be selectively reactive. For me, that's what emotional maturity is about. Proactively addressing issues to prevent disagreements, to prevent conflicts, and then when the conflicts eventually occur, selectively reacting to such conflicts and rationally reacting as well. So that is emotional maturity for me.
For me, emotional maturity would mean being able to withstand difficult circumstances or situations, to be able to carry through, to be able to control yourself, and be able to get on with people that you may consider as difficult.
Emotional maturity is different for people. What I would consider as mature might not be what you would consider as maturity. But I think there are some basics in terms of how does this person handle situations? How do they handle their anger? When they're angry, do they communicate, or do they just give you this silent treatment and you're calling, they're not answering your calls, they're not answering your text messages, or when they come in, you've had a fight, they suddenly don't respond to your asking questions, they're not answering you. How do they respond when they're sick even? When people are in pain, so it does something to your body, like it produces some negative vibes also. So you want to look out for those things. I always say when you're dating someone, date them long enough to see them when they're mad, to see them when they're disappointed, to see them when they're sick, to see them when they're happy. How do all these things happen? For example, now you're dating someone and he gets a cat cash flow of money suddenly. Maybe he gets, for some, he does a contract and he gets like ₦1 million and everyone is excited. Oh my goodness, this is so great. And then within 3 days, he spent the 1 million. That's a red flag for me because it tells me that he's not ready to take responsibility for a family, for the needs, other pressing needs. He has to be able to prioritize all those things. Money is very emotional too, so you have to watch out for all those kind of things. Also be with them long enough to see when they don't have money. How do they behave? Do they start getting moody because they're broke, or maybe a business deal did not fall through? Do you have to now be the bouncing pad for all their emotions, all their anger? So you want to make sure that you're with them long enough in different scenarios to make sure that you can see, okay, this is what I will be dealing with in the future. And can I deal with this? Is this something that I am willing, if this person never changes, am I willing to live like this? These are serious questions you have to ask yourself and make sure that whatever the answer is, make sure that you are comfortable. So if you know you can't do it, you can't live with that anger, you can't live with that jealousy or that depression, does he swing into a depressive mood when he's disappointed in something and he just needs some quiet time, and the quiet time turns into a day, 2 days. Suddenly you're finding yourself alone, but you are in a marriage. So you want to make sure that all these questions are kind of answered before you get into the marriage, so that you know what you're in for and if it's something you want to continue.
Yeah, emotional maturity is very important for a guy because the women come with a lot of it. And so if you're not stable mentally, you're just going to blow up. So I think apart from work, I check out for a guy that is emotionally stable. He's able to handle pressure very well, because women will give a lot, and you should be able to know when to keep quiet or walk away when it's getting tough. So because it's a wife you're getting married to, it's not your sister, so you have to be emotionally stable. And this is not a function of age, it's a function of discipline and growing up. So most of the things you're going through in this relationship, perhaps you're dating or the time you have your courtship, that's one of the things that it will be tested then. And so if it's tested and you're not strong enough, for me it's even a red flag. So I think emotional stability is a key component for going into marriage, especially for the man.
Emotional maturity. It talks of somebody who can take control of his attitudes, and then not easily fighting, quarreling, and the rest of them. He controls himself in every situation.
Awesome. Okay, so emotional maturity is an important part of relationship. So emotional maturity speaks of mastery. So to master something is to understand it, is to overcome it, and then be able to put it to the right use. And then for emotional maturity is that you understand how you feel, and you're able to tell what your feelings are instructing you about or telling you about yourself and about your environment or about the other person. And then to be able to use that information is the information you're supposed to use, not the feeling. So is to be able to use that information to decide how you're going to react and respond to the situation or to people. So mastery talks about understanding yourself and being able to understand other people and help them also moderate their own feelings. Very, very important. So there's a riddle that you find that Solomon told in Songs of Solomon chapter 8 from verse 8. I'll paraphrase the part of scripture. It says, we have a little sister. From the beginning, the sister was the one who responded first and said, my brothers used to wonder about me. They used to worry about me. I'm paraphrasing now. He said, and they would say, we have a little sister. She has no breast. What shall we say in the day she's spoken of? And he went further to say, if she be a wall, we will celebrate her with a parchment of silver. And then if she be a door, we will block it out with boards of cedar. Say she responded and she said, I am a wall and my breasts are like towers. Okay, this is a riddle, like I said, so you need to understand it. You need to break it into components and understand it. So this is a situation that was painted by King Solomon. So the first thing I like to break out in that scripture is that breast does not mean physical breast, because there's no way the brothers will be wondering she has no breast, and then she says, my breasts are like towers. What they were really talking about is her maturity, her emotional, physical, mental, and spiritual maturity, which is important in marriage. Which is important. So she said, I'm fully grown. I understand my emotions. I understand the way I feel and how to moderate the way I feel. Therefore, because the end of that scripture, the concluding part of that scripture, says, therefore I became like one who found peace to him, one who found favor to him, because emotional maturity is important if you want to enjoy peace in marriage. And she said, my breasts are like towers. And there's another part of that scripture that I won't like to leave out. Say, it should be a wall or it should be a door. That also talks about sexual chastity. They're talking about, we don't know if she's a virgin or she's been broken open before. And they had two remedies. They say, if she's a wall, if she's never been broken before, we will celebrate it on our wedding day. And then if she's a door, then we're going to block it out. That talks very much about sexual chastity, which is another important thing to understand with your emotions and how you moderate all of that to become a stable person. Somebody who really wants to enjoy marriage must understand sexual chastity and to put it to good use. And that's also very important. Welcome back, and I hope you enjoyed that episode. Alright, don't forget we have a lot of value to share with you. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel, hit the notification bell so you know every time we have a new post. Okay? Also follow us on our social media handles on Instagram, on Facebook, and on Telegram with the name Single and Ready Club. We will love to share value. Thank you so much. See you in the next episode.